Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a otro episode de Spanish con AI, and welcome back to the deep dive. I am absolutely thrilled to be guiding you through what I think is one of the most practical and just instantly gratifying structures in the Spanish language today.
It really is.
We are going to be tackling the core mechanism for communicating, well, acciones and progreso actions that are literally unfolding right now.
This is a truly foundational deep dive. If you're a learner out there, it doesn't matter if you're just starting your journey or maybe you feel a little stuck, moving from just static words to a real fluid conversation. Mastering this, the present continuous tense, is absolutely the key to unlocking immediate dynamic communication.
Exactly. Our mission today is totally laser-focused. We are dissecting the Spanish equivalent of the English I am walking, she is talking, or they are deciding.
Right.
Grammatically, we call this the present continuous tense, and it's built on just two things, one essential verb and one consistent suffix.
And the reason we always highlight the structure, the reason it's so important, is because it offers this really direct and reassuring parallel to how English speakers already think.
Right. You don't have to rewire your brain completely.
Not at all. Unlike some other Spanish tenses that, require a complete cognitive reset, this one leverages a formula that you intuitively understand already. And it uses a Spanish verb that should be familiar to pretty much everyone, estar.
Estar, yes. We'll be spending a lot of time with that workhorse verb today.
We will. Our core promise is that by the time we wrap up this deep dive, you won't just know the two simple rules you need. You will understand the deep functional difference between saying, I walk and I am walking.
And that's the whole game right there.
It is. And you'll be able to use that difference strategically in any conversation. We're really trying to move beyond just grammar theory and give you the tools for immediate application.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this. I think we should start with the absolute foundation, the structural scaffolding that this whole tense is built on. The fundamental formula here is constant. It's non-negotiable. It is always, always a conjugated form of the verb estar, which means to be, plus the gerundio.
The gerundio.
Which is the action verb, the part that's like the ing in English. If you can master those two components, you have this tense completely locked down.
And that consistency is the system's greatest strength. The estar plus gerundio formula is used exclusively to talk about actions that are happening at the very moment of speaking ahora mismo.
Right now.
Right now. It is the tense of immediacy, of temporariness. It defines the present condition.
That distinction you just made, immediacy versus habit, that's probably the most crucial thing for a learner to grasp.
I agree.
If I just use the simple present tense and say, yo camino, that just means I walk. It's a habit. Maybe I walk to work or I walk on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
It's just a general truth about me.
Right, a fact.
Well,
but the minute you introduce a star into that structure, yo estoy, caminando, the meaning just radically shifts.
It fully changes.
The general truth is gone. It's replaced by a temporary, ongoing action. The person you're speaking to knows, they know your feet are in motion right now, at this very second.
So it's the difference between describing who I am versus what I'm currently doing.
What you're currently engaged in, exactly.
Okay, so here's where we need to dive a little deeper.
Sure.
Why a star? This is the first big hurdle for learners, right? You have two verbs for to be, ser and estar. Why can't I just use ser here?
That's a critical question, and it's probably one of the most common mistakes a learner makes when they first try to build this structure. The simple answer is that the present continuous tense is inherently and fundamentally about temporariness.
Okay.
And changeability.
Because actions in progress, by definition, they start, they happen, and then they stop. They're not permanent.
Exactly. If you think back to the core functions of ser and estar, ser is for permanent characteristics, right? Identity, origin, time. Things that are generally fixed.
My name, where I'm from, that kind of thing.
Precisely. But estar is used for location, emotion, and this is the key temporary conditions.
And if an action is happening right now, it is a temporary condition. It's not a permanent part of my identity.
Exactly right. If we could somehow, and you can't grammatically, but if we could use ser, it would imply that the action of, say, walking or eating was a permanent defining characteristic of your being.
Like saying I am eating meant that eating was just this unchanging, inherent part of my existence.
Which makes no sense. The language itself demands estar because estar carries that inherent meaning of a state or condition that is temporary. The choice isn't arbitrary at all. It's completely functional.
Okay, that is a major aha moment. The tense is temporary, so it demands the temporary to be verb, estar. That simplifies the whole sir versus estar debate in this context because
Sir is completely excluded. It's not an option.
it's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. So now that we know why we're using estar, we have to quickly review the conjugation. It's not a perfectly regular verb, but it's one of the first ones anyone learns, so this should be familiar.
It should be, but you have to have it down cold.
You do, because the conjugation of estar is the only part of this two-part formula that actually changes based on who is doing the action.
Okay, so let's just run through the 6 forms really quick just to make sure everyone's on the same page. They tell us the actor.
For the first person singular, I am doing, it's always yo estoy.
For the informal, familiar you are doing, it's tú estás, with the accent on the A.
Good point. And for the singular third person that covers he, she, or the formal you, it's ellos usted está, again with the accent.
Now for the plurals, we are doing uses nosotros, or nosotros estamos.
And we should probably mention the vosotros form, which you'll hear all the time in Spain.
Right, which is estéis.
So that set of conjugations, está, estás, está, está, estáis, estáis, está, that is the first piece of the puzzle. It's like the conductor, you know. It sets the tempo and points to the performer.
That's a great way to put it. And now we can turn to the second piece, the action itself, the gerund. So the question now is not who is doing it, but what is the action? How do we actually form this gerund, this Spanish version of the English ending?
And this is where the consistency becomes your greatest ally. The rules here are incredibly systematic. They're predictable across, thousands of Spanish verbs.
So it's not a lot of memorization.
Not at all. The beauty of the gerund, the gerundio, is that it really only has 2 fundamental forms, and they're based entirely on the infinitive ending of the verb.
The infinitive being the base form, like caminar, comer, escribir.
Exactly. So let's nail down these 2 core rules. Rule number 1. For every single verb that ends in aar, which is the largest and most common category of verbs,
Right.
you drop that aar ending and you universally add ando.
Okay, so if I take caminar to walk, I just chop off the AR and stick on ando. So it becomes caminando, walking.
Perfect. If you're talking hablar, it's hablando. If you're looking, mirar, it's mirando. The sound, the form, the function, it's absolutely predictable. The second you see an AR verb, you instantly know the gerund.
And that takes us to rule number 2, which is just so efficient because it covers both of the other verb groups, ER and AJR verbs.
Precisely. Rule number 2. For all verbs ending in AJR and all verbs ending in HIR, you drop that ending and you add yendo. It doesn't matter if it's an HER or an HIR verb, the process is identical.
Let's use our 3 main examples to really cement this. So for the APR verb, caminar, we get caminando.
For the HER verb comer, to eat, we drop the HIR and add yendo, which gives us comiendo, eating.
Okay. And for the HER verb escribir, to write, we drop the HEIR, add yendo, and we get escribiendo, writing.
So that's it. The whole mechanism is just a binary choice. Is it an AR verb? Then it's ando. Is it an ER or IR verb? Then it's ando. That's the default setting for, I'd say, 95% of verbs.
And crucially, like we said before, the gerund part itself never changes. If I am writing, it's estoy escribiendo.
Right.
If we are writing, it's estamos escribiendo. The escribiendo part is totally static.
Right. Only a star moves.
So think of it like this. The gerund is the steady engine of the sentence, and a star is the subject-matching gearbox.
Oh, I like that. The engine stays the same no matter who's driving. This simplification is, it's a huge break from the complexity of conjugating verbs in the simple present, where you've got 6 different endings and sometimes a stem change to worry about.
This predictability is a massive confidence builder. But we do need to manage expectations here. Even in this wonderfully consistent structure, Spanish can't resist a few curveballs.
It can't. There are a few minor irregularities. We sometimes call them the vowel hurdles, and we'll get into those in a bit. But for now, just know that these 2 rules are overwhelmingly reliable.
Okay, so we've built the formula. Let's see how it actually operates out in the wild.
Let's do it. We can move from the dry rules to some real-life scenarios.
Right. This is where grammar stops being a theory and starts being a tool. We're going to look at some short natural dialogues that you might actually hear or use in a few different settings.
And contextual practice like this is the bridge to fluency. It helps you associate the structure not just with a rule, but with a social function like asking what someone's up to or describing something you see happening.
Let's start with the first dialogue. En el parque, in the park. This is usually a really casual setting, right? You're asking people what they're doing, talking about what you see.
Exactly. And the first line here is a perfect example. Someone walks up to a friend and asks, Hola, ¿qué estás haciendo en el parque?
Hello, what are you doing in the park? And right away we see estás, the to form, paired with haciendo, the gerund of hacer.
And the response is immediate and ongoing. Estoy caminando un rato y estoy escuchando un audiolibro.
I'm walking for a while and I'm listening to an audiobook. And that one sentence uses our formula twice. Estoy caminando and estoy escuchando. Both regular AR verbs.
And the function here is so crucial. If the speaker had said, yo camino and yo escucho, it would sound like they're just listing their hobbies.
Right. I walk, I listen to audiobooks, as a general fact.
Exactly. But by using estoy caminando, they communicate, this walking is my current activity. I am engaged in this right now. It adds that layer of precision.
Okay, let's expand that. The friend looks around and asks about someone else. ¿Quién es esa señora que está bailando tan rápido? Who is that woman who is dancing so fast?
So now we switch to the third person singular, ella, the woman, so we need está. And bailar, to dance, is a regular AR verb, so it becomes bailando.
Está bailando.
And this is perfect for describing things that are visually immediate. You see it happening right now.
It is. If she were a professional dancer, you might use ser to describe her profession, but to describe what she's doing in this moment, you have to use estar plus bailando.
That's a great contrast. The first speaker then sees something else. Mira, los niños están jugando al fútbol en el campo. Look, the children are playing soccer on the field.
And this is a vital plural example. Los niños, the children, that's they, so it requires the plural form of estar, están. And jugar, to play, is another regular SAR verb, becoming jugando. The whole sentence is about a temporary activity. They're playing soccer right now, but they won't be in an hour.
Exactly. The park dialogue really showcases this immediate observational language perfectly. It covers I, you, she, and they forms, all through the lens of temporary actions.
Okay, let's switch gears. Dialogue 2. En la escuela. At school.
Right. Moving to a school or academic setting, the conversations shift a bit to focus on work, study, professional duties. The tone might be a little more formal, but the formula is exactly the same.
So in this one, in a busy university hallway, someone asks about an administrator.
Disculpa, ¿sabes si el decano está asistiendo a la reunión de profesores?
Excuse me, do you know if the dean is attending the professor's meeting?
So, el decano, the dean, that's a singular he, so it needs está. And asistir, to attend, is a regular SIR verb, which gives us asistiendo.
And this is a great example of using the tense to ask about an ongoing status that affects logistics. Is he busy now? Right. And the response confirms the action. Sí, creo que está hablando de los nuevos presupuestos ahora. Yes, I think he is talking about the new budgets now.
Está hablando. A classic. Now the focus in the dialogue shifts to a group. ¿Qué están haciendo los estudiantes de último año? What are the final year students doing?
Los estudiantes, they, so we need the plural form, están. And responses about their work. Ellos están estudiando intensamente para el examen final y están escribiendo sus tesis.
They are studying intensely for the final exam, and they are writing their theses.
Two key gerunds there. Estudiando, which is a regular AIR, and escribiendo, a regular AIR.
Right. And the key analytical point here is that in Spanish, the continuous tense is often the preferred way to talk about ongoing academic or professional projects. Even if they span a period of time, they're still temporary.
Oh, that's a good point. So if you're a project manager and someone asks about your team, you wouldn't say, mi equipo hace el proyecto. My team does the project.
No, that sounds a bit strange. It sounds like it's their permanent job function. You would say, mi equipo está haciendo proyecto. My team is doing or is working on the project.
The continuous tense captures that sense of sustained but still temporary effort.
Precisely. And the last line in this school dialogue brings it back to the personal. Yo estoy preparando una presentación urgente para la clase de historia. And I am preparing an urgent presentation, a clear commitment to an immediate task.
All right, final setting, dialogue 3. En casa, at home. This really grounds the grammar in the most routine, everyday actions.
It does, and it shows that even mundane activities need this tense to communicate what's happening now. It often starts with a question about what someone's doing. A spouse or a child asks, Cariño, ¿qué estás cocinando hoy para la cena?
Honey, what are you cooking today for dinner? Estás cocinando. We see cocinar, to cook, a classic NADR verb. The question is obviously about an ongoing action.
And the response is specific, using a slightly different verb.
Yeah.
Estoy preparando paella. Necesito concentrarme. I am preparing paella. I need to concentrate. Preparando, from preparar.
I remember one time I was trying to tell my host family in Spain that I was cleaning my room, but I used the simple present tense. I said, limpio mi cuarto.
Oh, what did they say?
They just kind of looked at me funny. It sounded like I was just announcing my chore schedule for the week.
That is a perfect anecdote. That slight grammatical mismatch completely changes the function. In a home setting, the person cleaning wants to communicate, I am busy right now.
Exactly. Not cleaning is the thing I do.
Right. The structure conveys that status, so the child in the dialogue says it correctly. Yo estoy limpiando mi cuarto y mamá, ¿por qué estás gritando?
I am cleaning my room, and Mom, why are you shouting? Gritando, from gritar, another very common immediate action.
And the final observation about another family member. Mi abuelo está leyendo el periódico en la sala. Your grandfather is reading the newspaper in the living room.
So, tu abuelo, he, uses está. And here we finally see one of those critical irregular verbs in action.
Yes. Leyendo, from leer, to read. We've been foreshadowing this, but seeing it in a real sentence emphasizes that even with a slight irregularity, the core formula estar plus the gerund is still the constant.
So looking back at these three contexts, the big lesson is pretty clear. The environment, park, school, home, it doesn't matter. The continuous tense is the default choice for any action that is temporary, ongoing, and relevant to right now.
And that consistency means we can now move on and actually manage the complexity.
Yeah.
We can tackle those exceptions that make the structure truly robust.
Okay, let's do it. We're moving now to our consolidation segment, which is a deep dive into 5 practice prompts. But this isn't just a quiz.
No.
This is where we're going to turn those potential learning hurdles into genuine aha moments by really analyzing the common irregular gerunds in detail.
This section will cement your understanding of the 2 critical decisions you always have to make. Number 1, choosing the correct form of a star. And number 2, choosing the correct form of the gerund, which means recognizing and handling those minor irregularities.
Okay, let's slow down and really dedicate some time to these exceptions. Prompt number 1, yo only vio el libro.
Okay, the subject is yo, I. The verb is leer, to read. We want to say, I am reading a book.
All right, first part's easy. The yo form of a star is always estoy.
Right. Now, the challenge is leer. It's an ER verb, so the basic rule says we should add yendo. That would give us leyendo.
And if you try to say that leyendo, it just sounds awkward. It feels clunky. You get that weird E-I-E vowel pile up in the middle.
Exactly. And Spaniard grammar, which really prioritizes a smooth, flowing pronunciation, has a fix for this. We call it the vowel stem rule.
Okay, what's the rule?
When the stem of an ER or an IR verb ends in a vowel, like the E in leer, the I of the yendo ending changes to a Y.
Oh.
That U acts like a consonant sound, and it breaks up that awkward vowel cluster, making it easier to say.
So the I becomes a Y, transforming leyendo into lindo.
Exactly. So the correct answer is estoy leyendo un libro. And this rule applies to any ER or a mic IR verb where the stem ends in a vowel. This is a huge category of really common verbs.
Can you give us a few more examples of that, just to really drive it home?
Absolutely. Think about oír, to hear. Its stem is just o. You don't say oyendo, you say oyendo.
Okay, that makes sense.
Nor caer, to fall. The stem ends in a, so it becomes cayendo, not cayendo, one more. Traer, to bring. Its stem is traer, it becomes trayendo.
So the goal is always a smoother sound. You substitute that soft I for the harder consonant like yo. This one little irregularity clarifies so many common verbs.
It does.
All right, prompt number 2. Ella correr en el parque.
Okay. Subject is ella, she. Verb is correr, to run. We want she is running in the park.
Ella requires the third-person singular form, which is está.
Right. Now, correr. It's an AX-ER verb. Its stem is core. Since that stem ends in consonant, the R, the vowel stem rule we just talked about,
Doesn't apply.
it doesn't apply. We just use the standard yendo ending.
So the correct answer is ella está corriendo en el parque.
Perfect. And this is such an essential counterexample. It proves that the vast majority of AX-ER verbs just follow the basic rule. You only worry about that I becoming a Y when the stem itself ends in a vowel.
Which is actually pretty rare.
It is. Core is perfectly regular in its gerund form.
Okay, number 3. Nosotros, una película.
Subject is nosotros, we. Verb is ver, to watch or to see. We're going for we are watching a movie.
Nosotros requires estamos. Now, ver. It's an ER verb. Its stem is just V.
Right. Even though it's a super short stem, it ends in a consonant. So the gerund form is simply
Viendo.
viendo. The correct answer is nosotros estamos viendo una película.
And it's good to point out ver because sometimes it can be a little odd in other tenses.
It can, but its gerund is highly predictable. No stem change, no vowel hurdle. It holds steady. It's another example of how the gerund often bypasses the irregularities a verb might have in other tenses.
Okay, before we hit the last two prompts, we should probably talk about the second major category of irregular gerunds.
Yes, this is crucial for a real deep dive. This irregularity exclusively affects some stem-changing IR verbs.
And this is where learners can get tripped up, right? They confuse the rules for this tense with the rules for the simple present.
Exactly. So there are certain IR verbs that change their stem vowel in the present tense. Think dormir, to sleep. In the simple present, you say yo duermo. The O changes to UE.
Right.
But in the continuous tense, the gerund doesn't use that full UE change. It simplifies. The change in the verb stem is just one vowel. O changes to U. So dormir becomes durmiendo.
Oh, wow. Okay, so not durmiendo, but durmiendo. Estamos durmiendo.
Estamos durmiendo. It's a subtle but really important distinction. The same thing happens with E to I stem changers.
Like what?
Take the verb pedir, to ask for or to order. In the simple present, it has E to I changes. In the gerund, that E consistently changes to an I. Pedir becomes pidiendo.
So, estoy pidiendo ayuda. I am asking for help.
You got it. It just shows that while OR verbs are almost always regular, you have to keep an eye on some of these HIR verbs. They might carry over a simplified version of their stem change.
Got it. Okay, back to the practice. Prompt number 4. Tu escribir un mensaje.
Subject. Tu, informal, you. Verb, escribir, to write. You are writing a message.
Tu needs estás. And escribir is a regular AR verb.
Right. It's not a stem changer.
Yeah.
And its stem, escrib, ends in a consonant. So it just follows the standard yendo rule perfectly.
The correct answer. Tu estás escribiendo un mensaje.
And that's a great grounding example. It just confirms that if the verb is regular, the formula is absolute. No stem change, no vowel hurdle, just add yendo.
Okay, our final practice prompt, number 5. Ellos di, verb, hacen to do or make. They are doing the homework. Ellos takes están. Now, has. This verb is famously irregular in Spanish, right? The yo form in simple present is yo hago. That G comes out of nowhere.
It does. It's one of the most irregular verbs in the language. So a learner's natural instinct is to assume the gerund is going to be really difficult too.
Maybe it's spelled weirdly or something.
And that is the beautiful surprise of has. While it is highly irregular everywhere else, in the gerund form, it behaves perfectly regularly.
No way.
It's an LEER verb. Its stem is hak. That stem ends in the consonant C.
So we just drop the NER and add yendo. Hacer becomes haciendo.
Haciendo. The correct answer. Ellos están haciendo la tarea. This is such a wonderful moment of relief for the learner. The super problematic verb hacer just simplifies into the most predictable structure possible here.
That's amazing. Its complicated identity is just ignored by the gerund rules.
Totally ignored.
Wow. Okay, that deep dive into the practice set has really shown the power of the rules and the minor but critical exceptions like leyendo and those stem-changing LER verbs.
It has. And if you can identify those 3 potential pitfalls, the vowel stems, the EIR stem changes, and getting the estar conjugation right, you have successfully mastered the present continuous tense. The main takeaway is still the same. The gerund carries the action, and estar carries the conjugation and that vital meaning of temporariness.
We have reached the conclusion of this deep dive into Acciones and progreso. This grammatical structure really is a fast track to sounding more dynamic, more present in your Spanish conversations.
Let's just quickly summarize the absolute essentials that should be echoing in your mind right now. First and foremost, the present continuous tense is only for what is happening right now.
Not for habits.
Not for habits, not for permanent states. For that, you use the simple present. The temporary nature of the action is non-negotiable, and that's why it requires a star, never sir.
Secondly, remember the 2 components that make it all possible. Estar, conjugated correctly for the subject, estoy, estás, estás, estamos, están, and the gerund, which stays the same no matter who is doing the action.
And that gerund is formed by that simple binary choice. Endo for AR verbs and iendo for NER and NER verbs, but you have to be vigilant.
Right.
The major exceptions fall into those 2 camps. The ITI vowel stems, like lir becoming leyendo, and the simplified stem changes in some of those IR verbs, like dormir becoming durmiendo.
This structure offers such a direct and powerful connection to English grammar, but it's important to remember that Spanish often uses it less frequently than English does.
That's a great point.
We might say, I'm going to the store later. Using the continuous for a future plan. Spanish would almost never do that. It prefers other future structures. So you have to use this tense for actions that are happening in the flow of time right now.
And if we connect this all to the bigger picture, now that you know the structure, you have the ability to listen actively to native Spanish speakers and just hear this tense everywhere. You'll hear está hablando, están comiendo, estoy viendo constantly. And this raises a really practical question for you to apply immediately. Think about your current surroundings. What is the most specific, non-academic, non-domestic action that is unfolding in your environment at this very moment? In what immediate real-world scenario can you use estoy plus yendo or iendo right now? What are you, the listener, currently doing as you absorb this?
Are you estás conduciendo, driving? Are you estás caminando, walking? Maybe you're estás concentrando, concentrating. The ability to define your present actions is now firmly in your grasp.
It is.
Keep practicing those acciones en progreso, and we'll catch you next time.